Hello, welcome to the Football Terrace. What is your name and who do you support?
Yes, my name is Harry and I support Man United.
Harry, the United fan. Liverpool 3, Southampton 1. Give me your overarching views on that game.
Well, I thought that the refereeing in that game was poor. I thought that the first goal, obviously Salah was offside. Another incident where Southampton were through on goal, and then the referee, I don't know why he played it back. They were about to score, make it 2-1. He played it back for some reason. I don't know why. The referee, I think Liverpool paid the ref.
You think Liverpool paid the referee tonight?
Well, not literally, but I think the refereeing was unfair.
So what did you make? Of if the referee was paid, the referee was unfair? What do you make of the Naby Keita penalty situation? Surely he would have given that penalty if he was cheating for Liverpool.
I think that was a dive. That was a clear dive. Anyone that says that's a penalty, you're out of your head. You're mad. You're actually crazy. But anyway, what I wanted to actually speak about was the title of the video, because I see the title.
Yep.
Mo Salah best in the Prem.
Yep.
Are you high? Are you actually? Are you stupid? I remember I've been watching you for a couple months now.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I remember a couple, like last month you said Pogba was, and now you're saying Salah is.
No. Okay. So I can expect. First thing, reread the title again.
Okay.
And can you tell me what is at the end of that first sentence? It says Mo Salah is the best in the league. What punctuation? What kind of punctuation is at the end of that sentence?
Is a question mark.
There is a question mark. Thus, the viewers are being asked a question. It's suggestive, right?
You think he is, though? You think he is?
So do I think he is? I think Mo Salah has been over the last 2 years. He's only really been here 2 years. The best attacking player in the league, no doubt.
Okay.
So I wouldn't say he's the best out-and-out striker. I wouldn't say he's the best wide man. But overall attacker, I would say yes.
For me, I don't even think he's the best in the team. I don't think he's top 2.
Okay.
Like and Mane are better than him. That's why.
Who's better than him?
I'm telling you.
Who's better than him? Say again.
What happened to HH? I think he was the only person with real football knowledge. He's the only person that knew football. And I haven't seen him in time in your channel.
In all fairness, with Have Hope, we're trying to arrange some times. They've been clashing, but we're still in contact. Something's coming. So let me go back and address what you said earlier as well. So a month or so ago, I said Paul Pogba was right. So what I said about Paul Pogba is I said from when Ollie signed until when I made that statement, which was about an 8-week period. I said in that 8-week period, I said he's been one of the best in the world. Nobody's got near him in that period of time. So yes, over that period of time, absolutely he was. Do I think that Paul Pogba is one of the best midfielders in the world? I absolutely do. If you also know a lot about me, you'll also know that I don't really go around comparing position to position. Example being, at the moment, Virgil van Dijk is as good a centre-back as Harry Kane is a striker. They're different players in different positions. I kind of compare position on position, rather than people from the same position, rather than a winger versus a left back. Okay, I find that too difficult to do.
Okay, let's speak about Mane and Salah. Let me explain why I think Mane is better. Yeah.
Go for it.
Because my first argument is the 90 minutes argument. Because across 90 minutes, Salah does nothing. He actually does nothing other than goals. Salah offers nothing to the team. If you see Mane across 90 minutes, he's always involved in a game. He's made chances for the team, scoring. He does everything. He shows the tempo of the game. But Salah, for me, I think he's just just goal. Other than goals, he doesn't offer nothing. That's what. And as a footballer, a pure footballer, I think Mane is better than him. Mane is better than him.
Now look, okay. So on what you're saying, I'm just trying to actually get something up now. It doesn't seem to want to work for me, which is nice of it. If it doesn't want to work, I can't get it to. I'll try that again in a moment. But when you look at these players like you've mentioned and you talk about them, what I would say is that if your opinion that Mane is a better footballer, if you prefer his technique, if you prefer the way he dribbles, the way he moves,
that's 90 minutes.
Okay, but if you prefer that side of his football, that's a preference. And, You know, I think Jennifer Lopez is better looking than Taylor Swift, and some people would disagree with that. That's a preference thing, right? As an example. In terms of efficiency and deliverables on the pitch, over the last 2 years, Mo Salah has created more and scored more than Mane. Now, again, if you know anything about me, he plays at Liverpool, but I've always rated Sadio Mane. I think he's brilliant. But there hasn't been a player over the last 2 seasons who's delivered as many goals, as many assists, as many chances, as many clutch moments as Mo Salah. But in the Liverpool team or any other team in the Premier League, which is why I'm asking the question, is he the best in the league? Now, you can disagree with that, but what you've got, for me, what you've got to do and what you've got to be careful with is about not being disingenuous with how you talk about Mo Salah. If I say he's better than Sadio Mane, I'm not going to play down how good Sadio Mane is. And you mentioned Have Hope earlier. What Have Hope likes to do is, you know, remember, Messi's here, Eden Hazard's like there, and then right down there is Cristiano Ronaldo. He tries to dismiss how good Ronaldo is to win his point. So what I would say to you, what you shouldn't do right here to Mo Salah is try and be disingenuous about what it is that he does and be dishonest about what it is that he does as a player. I think Sadio Mane is great, but Mo Salah has delivered more on a more consistent basis for Liverpool over the last couple of years. In terms of the season, you may think that Sadio Mane has been better. That's great. You may prefer Sadio Mane, but it's also very difficult to take your opinion seriously when you've come on here and said that you think Liverpool have paid the referee tonight. So in terms of assessing your stability as a thinker and as a football mind, that would probably be the biggest thing that goes against you.
Can I explain?
Go on, of course you can.
First of all, I think you're a stats merchant because in your videos, all I see is you bringing up stats. I think stats are deceiving. If you look at stats, Lukaku is one of the best players in Premier League history.
Right.
Better than Drogba. I don't look at stats. I use the eye test. I watch the footballer play.
Great.
This is why, going back to what I said first, I agree with Have Hope when he says Hazard, as a footballer, he is better than Ronaldo.
In what respect? When you say as a footballer, what do you mean?
As a I like to use the argument, like, if say you're playing football with your friends in a park,
yeah,
and 2 players come along, Ronaldo and Hazard, the technique style, like if you get what I'm saying,
yeah, okay,
Ronaldo,
yeah,
the goals, Hazard, he runs past everyone, creates everything. When you go home, who are you gonna remember, Hazard or Ronaldo?
I get that, and that's fine. However, these 2 players you've mentioned are not playing in the knockouts or headers and volleys in a park. They're playing in a 11-a-side professional football match. And I am happy to not even debate it. I will sit there and say, okay, the technique of Hazard, the technique of Neymar, the technique of all those players are better than Ronaldo. Okay. But Ronaldo delivers more. And for me, let's look at it this way. If I'm a boxer, I can bob and weave the best, jab the best, slip, duck, dive. I can do everything the best. But if I ain't knocking men out and I'm getting outworked, I'm getting knocked out, or I'm getting knocked out in every fight, where does that get me? The point being, if Cristiano Ronaldo was a boxer and Eden Hazard was a boxer fighting each other, Hazard would have all the skills, but then Ronaldo's knocking him out. And it doesn't matter about all the skills, who the better boxer is, it's about who the better fighter is. So when it comes to football, everything you've said is great. It's a preference. You prefer the technique and style of Eden Hazard. When it comes down to the deliverables, the work ethic, and everything else that's important in football, Ronaldo kills him. And technique and how good you are, your touches, how brilliant it looks is great. But only if you're then delivering at the highest level. And Eden Hazard's a brilliant player. I'm not putting him down. But to put him next to Ronaldo as achievements in football is crazy. It doesn't make any sense. And when we look at the Mo Salah situation, it's not even about stats. So much of what I've spoke about tonight when it comes to Mo Salah, what have I spoke about? I spoke about his mental strength to not pass that ball, to stand up and be counted. I spoke about his clutch moments again. I think a caller mentioned earlier, like this is one of the, 14 times this season, he scored the winning goal for his team. Now that isn't just about statistics. That's about being brave enough to stand up and be counted when your team most needs you. So everything you've said is great. You think I'm stat merchant brilliant. But my biggest praise for Mo Salah tonight had nothing to do with statistics. It was about mental strength, which is an attribute of football that most football fans don't even talk about.
Okay, but I don't know what to say.
Because you're stumped. Because you've got nothing to say. Because you know I'm right. And listen, you preferring Hazard, that's fine. But it's a preference. I think, I like... When I look at... My favourite player growing up was David Beckham. Was he better than other wingers at the time? Some, not all. But the reason why I like David Beckham, there was a connection. He was from the same part of East London as me. He played for Man United. But it was the way... It was the way he moved. It was how his body looked when he hit a ball. It was almost artistic in the way he did things. It's why I love Zidane so much. It wasn't about speed. It was about the touch and the guile, the movement. Why I liked Eric Cantona. It's why I was a big fan of Teddy Sheringham. Because of what they could do as individuals. And that's all preference. When it comes to preference. If you're actually going to sit down and debate who the better football players were, though, when you're talking about the elite level, the touch and the skill and the movement's great. But when it comes down to the real brass tacks, it's... Well, who scored the most, who created the most, who delivered the most in their position, who was part of the winning teams, who had the mentality, who had the physicality to go on for years, whose body didn't break down when playing at the elite level.
Okay.
So all those things are important.
According to your definition, Lukaku is one of the best ever Premier League.
No, he's not.
Yes.
No, he's not. That's not my definition. Where did I say that? Where did I say that just scoring... Where did I say just scoring goals was my definition? Explain to me when I said that.
Bruv.
When did I say that?
Okay, first of all, earlier on you bring up Salah stats. Okay, I'm bringing up Lukaku stats right now.
Yeah, I can bring up... Okay, sorry. I can bring up... An element of your performance is your stats. It's not the only thing. Okay. So, again, I speak about Lukaku on a regular basis. His goal-scoring record is brilliant. But what I put him down for is his performances against the better teams. That's not good enough. His build-up play, his touch. There's so much more about him that isn't good enough.
Same with Salah. Against the top six, what's he ever done?
Well, this season, not a great deal. But that's one season. Last year, his record against the top six and elite teams and big matches was brilliant. So are we now just going to isolate someone's season down to 1 year?
Overall.
Well, if you go overall in the Premier League the last 2 years, his record is phenomenal. His percentage of goals against all the top sides would still, I would hazard a guess here, I haven't looked at the stats for a while, would still be around 45 to 50%, which is about the standard for elite level players. Harry Kane and most, Eden Hazard's the best this season, and his is at around 44%. So, again, Hazard, you're saying, is by far one of the best, but even what he's done in terms of deliverables against the top teams is under 1 in 2. So I don't get where you're coming from. Are you stumped again?
Just one day, please have hope that you argue my point better like that.
Well, no. So you've got to argue. You don't need another grown man to hold your hand, do you?
Okay.
Mate, listen. Thank you for your call. Take care of yourself. Take care, my brother. Take care.